In this video, we will discuss how to create and submit a request to your partner hospitals, in addition to covering some steps that may be unique to your hospital's request process. To begin with, first make sure that you are on the home page. If you are not on the home page, or you are unsure if the page is the correct one, you can just click the orange house icon in the upper right corner to go directly to your home page. Once on the home page, click on the yellow New Request button. When you do, one of two things happens. Either a pop-up window, as I'm seeing here, with an organization and program dropdown will appear, or some of you will be redirected to the request form itself. If you do get the pop-up window, first click on the organization dropdown. A list of all the hospitals that you are affiliated with will populate in the dropdown. Just select the appropriate one for your request. Then click on the program dropdown. Select the program you want your students to rotate under, and click Continue. Once you do, you are taken to the request form where the organization and program dropdowns will be automatically filled in from what you have already entered. If you're taken directly to the request form, though, and you did not get that previous pop-up window, then you're going to need to fill out the organization and program dropdowns on the form itself here. Your view of hospitals and programs is dictated by the affiliation agreements that have been uploaded into myClinicalExchange. So, if you don't see your partner hospital, or you see your partner hospital but not the program that you need to request to, please just reach out to our support team. You can find our contact information in the description of this video. Once you've reached the request form page, review the information on screen. The left side of this form is specifically school-based information, while the right side is rotational data. If you find that information is missing on the left side, you can just reach out to our support team to request that the information is added. Information on the right side belongs to the hospital, though. So if information is missing over there, you're going to need to reach out to them directly. On both sides, any item marked with a red R symbol will be required before you can submit your request. Some hospitals have more required sections than others, but there are a few universal requirements. Once the appropriate hospital is in the Submit Request To box, you can begin to fill out the Student Details area. Click on the Student Program dropdown and select the school program that your student is enrolled in. This is the only required information in this section, but you can fill out the rest of it for your own tracking purposes if you would like. Now move on to the Oversight User area. This area provides a point of contact at the school for the hospital to refer back to if needed. There are three options you can choose from here. The course instructor, who teaches in the classroom and is generally not involved with the rotation itself. The clinical instructor, who is a school faculty member who attends rotation on site as an overseer for the student. It is optional, by the way, whether you use a clinical instructor or not, but they do need paid accounts, and those paid accounts cost $21.50 per year if you decide to have a clinical instructor go out on rotation with your students. And then there is a clinical coordinator place. That will generally be you or another coordinating staff member overseeing the rotation from an administrative role. There's also a preceptor option down there, but that option will be filled in by the hospital if it's even used, so it's not part of your submission process, so please don't use that. So at least one of these three areas that you can fill in does need to be filled out before you can submit your request. To select an oversight user, you just locate the appropriate row and click on the yellow blue man button to the right of the box. For course instructor and clinical coordinator, all available staff will be displayed automatically. For clinical instructors, though, you're going to need to enter a partial last name and then click search before you'll see some results. Once your results are on screen, just locate the appropriate individual and mark the bubble or the radio button to the left of their name. Click the yellow associate button, and now that user's name shows up in your selected row. You can fill in all 3 sections if you want, but only one of these is actually required for you to be able to send your request in. If you're unable to locate the individual who you were looking for on the search page that I just used, please reach out to our support team for further assistance. But once this section is filled in, we can move to the right side of our request page. If you received that pop-up window initially, then the rotational program dropdown should already be filled in for you here. If you didn't get that pop-up window before, though, you'll need to fill out the dropdown now. And this was, of course, the hospital program where you want your student to rotate at. Some hospitals also will require that you select a department and/or a unit for the rotation. If you have to do that, there'll be a red R by those areas. Otherwise, you don't need to do it unless you just want to. Once the program specifications are filled in, now we're going to enter the total number of students who will be attending our clinical experience right here in the openings column. I'll put 3 for this one. Then we move down to our date range section. You have 2 ways to select dates that your students will attend their rotation. The first method is to just enter the start date and the end date of the rotation. So I'll build a May rotation request here. Then what we have to do is select the days of the week when we want our students to rotate. And that's the most common and simplest way to enter request dates. But you do have a second method, and that is in this custom dates area. When I click custom dates, I get to a calendar view. On this calendar view, I can just click on specific dates that I want my student to go out and rotate. So I'll reduce this to a 2-week Monday, Wednesday, Friday rotation happening on those exact 6 days. Then I just click Apply Selected Dates, and now I've set custom dates for my request. That's a nice method if you get into some students who you deal with who have a much more complicated kind of schedule that you have to work with. Once that period is set, then you need to set the shift details. So we're going to enter the shift hours here, just an estimate of how long their shift will be. We'll select now a shift out of this drop-down. Be aware that your hospital publishes the shifts they want to make available. So I've selected flexible here. And total hours. This field over here is actually something that operates as a minimum. So what you do want to do is enter something slightly smaller than the total hours you expect the students to reach on that rotation. Finally, now that the required fields on this form are all filled out, you can leave any additional information about your rotation in the comments section. This could include specific areas of the hospital that the student needs hours in, the name of a preceptor, the name of a facility, and any other information that the hospital should be aware of. Preceptors especially are very important to list down here. That is where the hospital expects to see any preceptor information that you want to send to them down in those comments. At this time, please review your request form to make sure all the required information has been provided on here. Looks like we filled out everything with a red R on this one. If everything is completed, you can click Submit for Approval to officially send your request off to the hospital. But once you do that, you're going to no longer be able to edit the information on the form yourself. So if any changes need to be made after submission, you're going to need to reach out to your partner hospital and request that they update the information themselves. If information is still missing, or if certain factors are subject to change on this and you don't want to submit your request just yet, you can instead click Save as Draft. That would save all of your work that you've done so far and allow you to return and finish that later on if you would like to. Whether you save the request as a draft or submit it for approval, the system will confirm that the request has been saved and will provide you a unique 6-digit request number. So I'm just going to click Submit now, and you will see that. So we get a confirmation from the system, and it's now showing our unique request number. If you keep that information on hand, that's a very easy way to track your request later on. You could do a search for that request number on your home page. You can now return to your home page, and it will display a basic overview of your rotation details under the Traditional Requests tab. So let me pull up the one that I just filled out for you. And here that is. This is the one that we've just filled out, request number 295625, requested today on April 17th, which is when I'm recording this video for you. In addition to the general requirements that we discussed today, you can also see a few additional requirements on your request page in some instances. Sometimes when you're working on that page, you could see a facility, student contact information, and documents to upload. If you do see any of those 3 items, please refer to our hospital-specific settings video for more information on how to complete that. Thank you so much for watching our video on how to create and submit a traditional request. And if you do have any questions for us, you're welcome to contact us at our support email address of support@myClinicalExchange.com.